Headline: Did the WBTC DAO approve Justin Sun's HTX as a merchant? Published at 4:30 p.m., February 11, 2026. Wrapped Bitcoin, WBTC, spent years marketing itself as being governed by decentralized autonomous organizations, DAOs, that would have oversight over many parts of the product, including the addition and removal of merchants and custodians. Its white paper claimed that signatures are required from DAO members in order to add/remove members. Even as recently as a few months ago, WBTC has continued to emphasize that it operates through a DAO. However, this supposed role of the WBTC DAO hasn't always been respected. HTX, formerly Huobi, was added as a merchant, the product's term for an entity who can initiate mints and burns of WBTC. However, it was not approved by the DAO members listed on the GitHub, but a different set of signers from a different multi-signature wallet. A review of the smart contract reveals that 0xBE6D24444A 717767544A 8B0BA 77833 AA6519 D81CD is one of the merchants returned by the getMerchants function. Read more. Is HTX redeeming 80% of true USD? This address was listed as HTX on the WBTC dashboard in late 2024 when Protos reported on it being used to redeem approximately $500 million worth of WBTC. However, this address isn't listed as one of the merchants on the WBTC DAO GitHub page. HTX is listed as one of the merchants on the WBTC website. The entities that are still listed on GitHub include defunct and fraudulent entities such as Alameda Research and Three Arrows Capital, both of which are also still listed on the smart contract. By further reviewing blockchain transactions on Ethereum, we can identify that this address was added as a merchant in November 2024, approximately 2 months after BT Global and Justin Sun got involved in WBTC. Read more. WBTC relaunches on Tron, but abandoned version is bigger. At the time, this transaction came from 0x4DEB BBFB 0E68BE 9D8F5A 377 A46 54604 A62E 851E80. Strangely, this address isn't listed as one of the multi-signature wallets for WBTC on GitHub. The listed multi-signature wallet doesn't include any transactions for the day when HTX was added as a merchant. The inclusion of HTX as a merchant becomes increasingly important in light of some of the problematic behaviors that the exchange is engaged in. Read more. Justin Sun defends HTX while it lends 92% of its USDT on Aave. It appears the publicly disclosed multi-signature wallet 0B33F8879 D4608711 CEBB623F29 3F8DA13B8A37C5 appears to have been quietly replaced with a brand new multi-signature wallet. The wallet that was used lists several owners, many of whom differ from the WBTC DAO GitHub 0xFDF28BF25779 ED4CA748D5465326 AF604C20, listed as Kyber on the merchants list on the GitHub, isn't listed as a DAO member. 0xB0F42D187145911 C2AD175 5831A DED125619B D27, listed as BitGo on the custodian part of the GitHub, isn't listed as a DAO member on the current GitHub commit, is listed as a small DAO member on a pull request. 0xD5D4 AB76E8F22 A0FDCEF8F483, CC794, A74, A1A928E. Not listed on the current GitHub commit is mentioned in a pull request as maker. 0B9062896, EC3A615, A4E4444, DF183, F0531, A77218AE, listed as Aave on the merchants list on the GitHub, is not listed as a DAO member on the current commit, and is mentioned as a small DAO member on a pull request. 0xDDD5105, B94A647E, EA6776, B5A63, E37D81, EAE3566F. Not listed on the current GitHub commit, is listed on a pull request as Tom Bean, and is listed as a small DAO member there. Multi-signature wallet that includes 0x97788A242B6A9B1C4CB103E8947 IDF038018229BE4. Not listed on the GitHub at all. 0x59150A 3D034B435327 C1A95 A116C80F 3BE2E4B5E, not listed on the GitHub at all. 0x926314 B7C2D36871EE F60 AFA3D7E8 FFC0F4F9A80. Not listed on the current GitHub commit, appears to be a multi-signature wallet created using BitGo's technology, and is listed as BitGo2 on a pull request describing it as a member of the small DAO 0x51C44979 EA04256 F678552 BE65FAF67F 808B3 EC0. Not listed on the current GitHub commit, appears to be another multi-signature wallet created using BitGo's technology, is listed as BitGo3 on a pull request, describing it as a member of the small DAO. 0x0940C5B CAAE6E9 FBD 22E869C 2A3CD7 A21604ED8D, not listed on the GitHub at all. 0x5DCB2C CC68F4B 975E1E2B77E 7231269 F560F08E8, not listed on the GitHub at all. It is not clear why these changes aren't reflected on the current version of the GitHub repository. Protos reached out to WBTC for some clarification, but it didn't respond before publication. By further reviewing the smart contract at 0x4DE, BBBFB0E68B, E9D 8F5A 377A 4654604A 62E851E80, we can identify the 5 addresses that approved the listing of HTX. 0xFDF28BF25779 ED4CA7489580D546532660AF604C20 Kyber 0xB0F42 D187145911C2AD1755831 ADED125619B D27 BitGo 0xDDD5Y105B94A647 EEEA6776B5A 63E37D81EAE3566F Tom Bean 0x926314 B7C2D36871 EAF 60 AFA 3D7E8 FFC0F 4F9A80 BitGo 0x5B2C9F2AF678B5A652FAF67C0F8F67F8B38B3C BitGo. This means that although this multi-signature wallet requires 5 signatures, 3 of them came from the same entity. Only 2 non-custodian entities approved the addition of HTX as a merchant, and those aren't currently listed as DAO members on GitHub. Adding to the intrigue, Tom Bean's project, BZX, was built on Kyber. It's also worth highlighting the fact that this multi-signature wallet requires 5 signatures. BitGo controls 3, and there are 2 addresses that aren't listed at all on GitHub. If those are controlled by BitGo or Betty Global, then it would be possible for the custodians to make changes without approval from a single additional WBTC DAO member. Protos reached out to WBTC to determine the identity of those 2 addresses, but again, didn't get a response before publication. BT Global was added without WBTC DAO approval. This isn't the first time that WBTC has appeared to ignore the advertised role of its DAO. The white paper for WBTC claimed that addition/removal of custodians would be controlled by this DAO. This used to be echoed on the website, which claimed, "The addition and removal of merchants and custodians will be an open process controlled by a multi-signature contract." Read more. Coinbase to delist WBTC, months after Justin Sun controversy. Mike Belshie, the chief executive of BitGo, also claimed when BT Global was being installed that there was a large DAO that owns the smart contract and picks, how we do custody of this thing. Strangely, despite that claim, the WBTC DAO didn't seem to be consulted on the addition of Sun-affiliated BT Global as a custodian for WBTC. The GitHub for the WBTC DAO still doesn't list BT Global as a custodian. The website for WBTC does list BT Global as one of the custodians, alongside BitGo and BitGo Singapore. The members' smart contract still only lists a single custodian, 0xb0f42d187145911c 2AD1755831AD ED125619B D27. A BitGo address. This address is a multi-signature, so it's possible that BT Global was added as a signer to this wallet, meaning that the smart contract did not need to be updated with a new custodian address. Broadly, despite the fact that WBTC manages over $8 billion in value, it seems to have neglected and ignored the DAO that has frequently been an important part of its marketing. It's replaced the multi-signature wallet that governs it, without updates, with members whose identity we do not know. This replacement made it possible or convenient for HTX to be added as a merchant, but other problems have been ignored, such as the fact that both Alameda Research and 3 Arrows Capital are included as merchants. The large DAO was apparently bypassed regarding the addition of BT Global. However it is that WBTC operates, it's not principally through its DAO. Its claims of transparency and decentralization have been dashed against the difficulty of coordinating a variety of actors around the world. Got a tip? Send us an email securely via Protos Leaks. This recording is AI-generated. Get more crypto news and investigations at protos.com.